Gonna go through the intro animation. And bang.
Bang! Welcome back, folks. I am Jon Najarian. CJ Reichel is here with us as well as usual. But our normal third in the triumvirate is taking a couple well-deserved days off before Bitcoin Miami kicks off. I think he's down in the southern hemisphere somewhere, CJ.
I believe it was Fort Lauderdale, so he's already down there.
Oh, I thought he was over on the other side of Florida, on the Naples side. But maybe he already took the trek across Alligator Alley. And we welcome you back from a day off, folks. Of course, there's never a day off in crypto. And I guess a little bit of surprise for both of us, CJ, that I think both of us kind of anticipated perhaps some bloodletting that might take Bitcoin and Ethereum back down towards 2,000, Bitcoin back down towards 30. Didn't materialize. I mean, we saw dips, but it certainly wasn't anything as drastic as that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, John. You know, we really were stressing that on Friday about how to kind of just wait and let those periods of low volatility and low volume pass with the American holiday and all. And to our surprise, yeah, not much has happened. We've just been range bound really ever since. You know, we're struggling to get above that 200 moving average, and we've just kind of been range bound ever since.
Yeah, and I'll point out also, CJ, that a couple different stocks that I wanted to point out. Voyager, of course, the sponsor of this program, got to lead off with those guys. Again, they sponsor the show, folks. We are investors with them. We are launching a brokerage with them for stock options and futures. And Voyager is, of course, a crypto trading broker. 50 plus digital assets, no commissions. They have grown like crazy. Still leading in the App Store downloads over the likes of Robinhood. And that one, CJ, I'm looking at a 1 month graph, and it looks pretty much like 17 is about the bottom and approximately 21 has been the top. And it's been pretty calm in that range, which is bizarre given how volatile Bitcoin has been. Because during that same month, I mean, May was one of the worst months in history for BTC, if not the worst month. I believe from a drawdown standpoint, the worst we've ever seen. And then you've got, you know, things like Coinbase that likely drew some money away from perhaps even Voyager and other assets, because when Coinbase came out after that initial print over, you know, from 275 or 325 up to 425 or thereabouts, it was straight down, and seemingly the only buyer was Cathie Wood. And that one bottomed finally at about one of the first indicated prices before it did its direct listing, which was about 225 to 250. That's been the bottom, 225. And the middle of this range over the last month has been basically 255. So that indicative price, pretty accurate. I'll just toss a couple more out, CJ. For instance, Square. And speaking of Square, Jack Dorsey, the chairman of both Twitter and Square, will be down at Bitcoin Miami, where we will be, CJ, Monty, and I, and the team of both Market Rebellion and Voyager will be down in Miami at the Wynwood, more or less. I guess I could call it like a convention center, CJ, but it's really like just a big warehouse. Mina Wynwood, it's called. And I've been there a couple times. Art Basel is usually centered around this area as well. And it's more or less a giant, like an airplane hangar. But it will certainly accommodate, you know, the flood of people that'll be somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 cryptopreneurs that'll show up there. But so anyway, like I say, Dorsey will be there, MicroStrategy, MSTR, That's Michael Saylor. He'll be there. His stock, of course, just like Bitcoin, taking a whack from 521 at the beginning of May all the way down into from 650 the beginning of May. I apologize, 650 beginning of May, all the way down to a low of about 450, a 200-point slam dance. And that's because he has like 92,000 Bitcoin, I think, right, CJ?
Yep, and knowing him, that's probably growing in the next month or so, the way that he's been buying Bitcoin ferociously. And another thing about Bitcoin Miami, folks, you should definitely come by and check out the Market Rebellion and Voyager booth because we're going to be giving away one Ethereum token, currently at a price of above $2,000, but it might be more in the future. We'll have to see, or less.
I've got it at 2640 right now, CJ.
There you go. But you'll have the chance to win one Ethereum token, and we're very excited about that. So
Maybe
looking
even
forward
a
to
Market
it.
Rebellion hat. Although in Miami, I don't know if it'll be as popular. They're really
Yeah.
popular in Chicago in the fall and in the winter. I don't know if it'll be all that popular in Miami, CJ. The Greed and Fear Index, CJ and I watch this one pretty close, as does Monty. Again, a low reading here is the opposite of a low VIX reading. A low reading here is like a high VIX reading. It's inverted because the way they track it, if the Fear and Greed Index is below 50, it means that people are pretty bearish. But it also might mean that it's just like a high VIX reading. It's a BTFD sort of situation, by the friggin' dip. And it hasn't been able to get much above 2022 for the last several days. Yesterday it was an 18. Last week it was a 22. But last month it was 66. Now that's on the greed side, but not the highs of the year, which were more like I think 78 or 80. But certainly worth watching, the Fear and Greed Index. And I had one other bit of news, CJ, about I noticed a Bloomberg article over the weekend about Bitcoiners in Argentina. And so I dialed up CJ. I said, hey, CJ, I want to talk to you about mining some coin down in Puerto Rico because I might have an opportunity down there with solar and so forth. And CJ was filling me in on some of the things since he's mined Bitcoin and other cryptos. He's been a proof of work guy before. But they're talking about why it would be in Argentina. And they kind of bury the lead, but the lead is government subsidized electricity. That's the only reason, folks. You could put any other reasons that, I'm sure some smart people at Bloomberg put this story together, but it basically says Bitcoin miners in Argentina are capitalizing on inefficiencies of the country's interventionist economy to reap outside returns, fueled by memories of currency busts. Okay. And powered by government subsidized electricity. That is it. It's none of the other stuff. People in Argentina might buy Bitcoin and other cryptos because they don't trust their own currency. But the real reason the miners are doing well isn't that, because they can sell those coins once they're mined anywhere. They don't just have to sell them to Argentines. But government subsidized electricity. Come on, guys. Who's writing these stories over at Bloomberg? That's the lead, and you buried it. So just kind of pointing that out, CJ.
Yeah, that was an interesting discussion we had about mining. I mean, obviously the heat kind of sucks, but man, one of the best places in the world, other than maybe the Nevada desert, to actually get heat and energy off of those solar panels. So maybe that's something we'll pursue.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, if you can get wind, if you've got a spot, and Puerto Rico has pretty decent winds too, because the northern part of the island and the southern parts get a pretty steady breeze, so you could probably get some wind. But I've not seen any of those windmills, CJ. Maybe in your treks around the island you have, but I didn't. I bet there are some somewhere. But certainly you see a lot of solar down there. And I would trust the solar, of course, more than the electricity as well, generated by the power plants, because their grid isn't exact. It's probably a lot like Texas. And that's not a rip on Texas, but Texas is the only place that is not on one of the three main grids in the United States. They have their own, separate from the rest of us. Did you do any buying over the weekend then, CJ? And see any coins that you said I just got to get some of that?
Like we said in the beginning, I just kind of sat on the sidelines, still have just kind of been waiting. I think we're in, a little bit of a reaction rally. I pointed out the 200 period moving average earlier. Until we get above that, I'm not super enthusiastic to jump into a long, but I will look for some more downside price action until we can really get above those levels. I feel like the
So,
market is so oversold, but that resistance up ahead is just still very strong.
yeah, and that 200 day is just over 40, CJ, is that right?
It's about 42 to 40 in
42?
that range.
Okay. And the 20 day is up, I think, at like 49 or 50,000. Now, granted, that wouldn't be nearly as strong a resistance as the 200 day, which, as you guys know, that means if you took the average of the last 200 days, that's where the price of a particular asset would be. And in the case of Bitcoin, if that's north of 40,000, Bitcoin, which is 37 and change today, that's got some work ahead of it. By the way, did you see that Max Kaiser still stands by a record, 220,000 at year end? God bless you, Max. I love your optimism for Bitcoin. But CJ, he says by June 4th, this is the 1st of June, he's got 3 days, new all-time high for Bitcoin, which would mean 64,800. Ain't happening, Max. Not likely at all. I don't know that we can get and sustain much above 40. I think that's a heavy lift right now. The longer we work at it, though, the more likely it is that we can get there. But we saw last week, we traded through and came right back. It ended up being, that resistance to the upside, which had been support at that 200 day, was just fierce as far as, just the amount of hits that people gave once it bounced to that level.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of funds, a lot of automated trading systems, they use those moving average crossovers a lot, specifically with the 200 day. So that's just kind of been one that I really place a lot of importance on, as well because it's such a longer time frame. But with that being said, Dr. Doge, you want to let us know if you've got a pick for today?
I do. My Doge of the day today is going to be QTUM. QTUM, it's a top 100 coin. It trades at about $11.85, $11.70 in that range. The 24-hour range has been, and this is a pretty wide range, 1134 to 1261. Put that into Bitcoin sort of numbers, and that would be 11,300 to 12,600. That's a big, pretty nice chunky range for something that's not a lot been happening. It's on the lower end of that range right now. Volume has been in the 448 million range, something like that. So watch if this one picks up a little. I think it could go back to work. Let me see what would be a good target, CJ. Last week, or not last week, Thursday, yeah, I guess Thursday, approximately 15. So it looks like a lot of between 1350 and 1370 would basically be my target short term.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
QTUM.
My Doge of the day is going to be AVAX with an entry trigger at 20. So, like many assets in the field, like Bitcoin itself, very low volume this weekend, and that spilled over into the start of the week here, the first of the month. That's why I want to wait and use that trigger level. We're trading at a price of $17.70 right now. If we get a firm, strong close with a bullish engulfing candle with increased volume, showing that buyers have the willingness to commit their capital and step up, then I will be interested in entering this for a short-term trade, potentially up to the next resistance levels there at around 25 or 30. But sentiment's been very positive on this one, just waiting for some of that volume to kick in. We haven't quite got it yet. But AVAX, nonetheless, is going to be my Doge of the day.
Well, if you'd like to be getting conversations about best opportunities long and short, well, I'd recommend, of course, our trading room. Voyager sponsors us for a reason, and that is that there's thousands of you that want to be in a room and chat about which opportunities look best, again, from the long or short side, levered or unlevered. And you can do that, try it out for $1 for the first month. We will be broadcasting all week, probably broadcasting from the Bitcoin Miami as well. And that room is populated 24/7, folks. So if you join, I mean, it's the first of the month. I don't know that we ever time months just by the first of the month for when you join, but just as a pretty easy barometer right now, if you join now, you get the whole month of June for $1. 24/7 access to charts, people who have been in the business for a long time, as well as thousands of other traders that are hearing this and that, and it might be a tip to, maybe dive into this coin or that coin. So check it out, marketrebellion.com/try crypto. That's marketrebellion.com/try crypto. Remember, all of these episodes go up on YouTube as well. So if you miss it and you would like to watch it later, you can either follow one of our tweets, which will have a link to the Periscope or whatever, or you can go over to YouTube because it gets posted over there right away as well under Market Rebellion. All right, CJ, let's get to it, sir.
Thank you, everyone.